As you know, the majority of the viewers on this channel are possibly investors and players in the financial market. And so I want to steer the conversation in that direction. But I want to talk about money in a different way, the funding behind the EFF, especially in the light of the position that you've taken to not go into coalition. What is the strategic partnerships you might have behind funding that has allowed you this type of flexibility that we haven't quite seen in the South African local political landscape anyway?
Well, funding is a difficult thing with the EFF, the type of policy we advocate for. Capital is scared of our policies, it has got doubts. And we rely heavily on the IEC and the Parliamentary Constituency Fund. And we also rely on individual donors who will contribute 50,000, 100,000. The good thing with the EFF is that we maximize with the little resources we have. Every cent gets used for the right purpose. It doesn't get diverted to do other things. So with the type of work we've put in place, if we had support, particularly the financial support, the EFF will be the biggest role player in South Africa. I said to our comrades, it doesn't matter whether it takes us 10 years or not. The people will come to appreciate with time that this is the genuine alternative South Africa has been longing for, because we are fighting for everyone. We're not fighting against white people, neither are we fighting against capital. What we're saying is that let us share the wealth in this country. Let everybody benefit, because the inequalities in South Africa are shocking. And if nothing is done with the inequalities in South Africa, we're going to have an unled revolution. What is happening in Alexander and what is happening in Sandton, one day we're going to wake up with those people of Alexander attacking those people in Sandton without having been led by anyone. An unled revolution is anarchy, and anarchy is the highest form of disorder. If we don't redistribute the wealth, that's where we're heading. And that's where the EFF comes in, to pull capital, to pull the working class and say, let's come together, let's build a South Africa where all of us will benefit.
Julius, it sounds good, but we're a country that is part of a world economy. Money flows into the economy, money flows out. We need investment. Those policies are going to drive investors away. What are the conversations you've had with potential and real investors? Do they come and say to you, do you really mean what you say? And I presume you say, yes, we do. And what do they tell you they're going to do?
Well, I've spoken to investors here at home. I've spoken to investors outside the country, and I've never changed my language. I've made it very clear to them that we need to implement the policies that will share the wealth of the country. And they appreciate that this country comes from difficult past, and if we don't attend to the difficult past, we run a risk of having anarchy in this country. So we gave many examples to the investors that in Britain, in London, there are shops, companies that workers have shares in those companies, and those workers are not called workers, they are called partners. Ordinary workers in those companies own up to that company. Why can't we have the same situation here? Why do we believe strongly in giving shares to a single individual who's politically connected, and not a community, not a group of workers, not a group of women, but a politically connected individuals, because we enjoy that cozy relation which promotes corruption. So any investor that is not corrupt, any investor that believes that wealth can be shared and profit can still be made, they've been welcoming to the EFF proposals.
How would you change the investment framework then? Because from what I'm hearing, Julius, it almost sounds as if you're saying BE in its current form isn't working, because it's still around maybe a few or a handful of politically connected individuals. We know what the other parties feel about BE. What is your strategy for ensuring that there's a greater redistribution of the wealth, and that the inequality that you described, that division is made smaller?
Give the shares to the workers who are making this company to be what it is. This company is nothing without these workers. And if you give the workers shares, there will never be a 5-month strike, because they know that when a profit is affected, it means the 14th check, the 13th check is bonus, the 14th check is dividends, is going to be affected. So guys, we must go back to work so that the 14th check comes so that we are not affected. From there, give the community the shares. You have Marikana there, the London mine, just next to an extremely poor community. Why can't we have a government that says we are going to establish a Marikana, a community trust with professional accountants and all this type of people is going to be given shares. Whatever dividends are declared to this community trust, there will be a general community meeting where voting will take place. Are we building clinic? Are we building school with this money? Are we building road? Are we putting water? Where there is a political will, these things will be done. Empower the workers, empower the community. You are so readily available to give billions of dollars to one individual called Patrice Motsepe. Imagine if that money Patrice is controlling as an individual, if it was given to individual families in a community and not as $1 billion, but as 100,000, 50,000 per family. What impact that money will have in such a community.
Let's come back to your tactics. And with the excitement of the municipal election, we've forgotten about Parliament and your activities in Parliament. And it seems to me the policy issues are less important than you've made allegations about corruption, and there's a personal attack on the President.
Yes.
And you've actually disrupted Parliament substantially in pursuit of that campaign. Can we expect the same tactics on a local level?
Well, at the local level is a different matter altogether. There is no disruption in Parliament. Parliament runs smooth. Committees are meeting. The EFF contributes to those committees. Actually, the EFF has become the thinking tank of those committees because it brings, superior logic. It puts very cogent arguments in those committees. The only time there is a problem in that Parliament is when Zuma comes. Because Zuma is not an honorable person. And in Parliament, only honorable people must be allowed. You can't be honorable if you have undermined the Constitution. You have violated the Constitution. And the highest court in the land, called the Constitutional Court, said so. Said you didn't respect the oath of your office. So the problem starts there when we say to the Speaker, we don't need this guy in this house because is tainting all of us. All of us now are going to look like we're crooks because we're allowed to sit with crooks in this August house. So that's where the problem starts. But when there is no Zuma, there is peace in that Parliament.
Maybe as an extension of that question, Julius, I mean, even post these local elections and as you prepare for 2019, one would assume that the long-term play is to try and make sure that your ideology permeates into the bureaucracy and the political machinery in South Africa. How are you going to do that? Because even in this instance, you're a player in a system that's already set. How are you going to change and make sure that the ideology of the EFF permeates into South Africa's political machinery?
Well, the EFF ideology is already resonating with more than 1 million people in South Africa in less than 3 years. And you must know that for an ideology to resonate with the majority takes forever. The ANC was formed in 1912. It only took power in 1994. So I don't think the EFF will take that long, but it has to work the ground. It has to ensure that it educates workers, it has to ensure that it educates students, it educates the unemployed, and win the confidence of the people of South Africa. I give it a maximum of 10 years because we've got hard workers in the EFF, we've got fearless fighters in the EFF who are ready to learn, and now we are represented in all the municipalities, in all legislatures, in Parliament. We are learning. As it were now, the EFF has got 830-something councillors who went through PR and the ward councillors. So you've got a professional politicians of the EFF who are going to be trained on this ideology, and they will have to go and educate the communities about this ideology.